Today I want to give you my first impressions of the Suunto 5. .3 miles, 9 minutes, 2 seconds per mile today. Taking it nice and easy, trying to give heart rate based running a try today. It lasted for me for about 4 miles, and then I kind of just gave up and just went nice and easy for the rest of the time out there today. Having a good time running with the Suunto 5. This isn't actually my first run with it. It's more like my third or my fourth run with it. I wanted to get a couple of runs in it before I started talking to you guys about it, even though this is just going to be a very preliminary first impressions video. But before I get to my thoughts, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a watch that was sent to me by Suunto. They provided me this unit for the purposes of review, but they're not paying me to make this video. They don't know when this video is going to be coming out. They're not going to have any editorial control and not going to get a chance to see it until you guys get a chance to see it on YouTube. Now, with the disclosures out of the way, let's talk about the Suunto 5. Now, I'm new to the Suunto kind of family of watches. This is my first one. I've tried to kind of delve into what they've been offering, and it's been a little bit confusing for me in the past. I think they're trying to streamline it a little bit now, because now they have the Suunto 3, the Suunto 5, and the Suunto 9. I think there's some other kind of sub-models and other things that are out there, but in terms of my ability to kind of, as a newcomer into their space, those are the 3 models that I understand. The Suunto 3 is for the people who are going to the gym, maybe attending fitness classes, and also wanting to keep track of their active lifestyles. The Suunto 9, on the other hand, is for people that are looking for a watch that can accompany them on multi-day trail adventures where you're very likely to get lost out in the woods or up in the hills. And the Suunto 5 fits somewhere in the middle and is geared towards the athlete that is looking to make improvement. And so far, living with the watch for just about half a week now in terms of running has been overall a pretty good experience. There's a couple of things that I'm getting used to. Taking a look at the watch, it's bigger and bulkier than what I'm normally used to. But the one downside of this watch, and I think they're doing it to save battery life, is that it's just not bright enough. A lot of times I'm having a hard time reading what the watch is telling me. Although for the most part, that only happens in the hours that I'm not running. When I'm running and I'm looking at it and glancing down quickly, I can usually see all the information that I need to see very easily. But when I'm just living with the watch, going day to day, trying to check if I have any notifications, I just feel like it's too dim. I'm having a real hard time reading it. And that, I think, is exacerbated by the watch faces that they have. And there aren't that many. And I have to say, I think that they're absolutely hideous. I do not like any of the watch faces. The other thing that I don't like about it is that even though it pairs with my phone, it can't, and it can give me notifications. It's not giving me a lot of other data. So there's a button that you can press to give additional data in some of the fields, kind of like complications in other watches. But the amount of complications aren't that great, and the options that you can select from aren't that useful. So it's a little bit disappointing. Hopefully that's just like the nugget or the seed from which more options will develop later on. But so far that's been a little bit disappointing. But overall, in moving to this watch, I wanted to move away from something that was more complicated into something that was more simple, more singularly purposed, something that would give me great battery life and that would give me great data while I'm running. And so far, it's been great in terms of getting me the data that I want. So what I've done in terms of setting mine up with, I've paired this Suunto 5 with my Stryd footpod, which is something that I've been training with for pretty much all of 2019. And also with my phone, and then you'll need to do that for a couple of different reasons. You get some presets for running in terms of data fields that it shows, but I've decided I would configure mine because I do have that Stryd footpod so I can get a power rating while I'm running. And that power reading comes from the Stryd footpod. I get pace and distance also from the Stryd footpod, which is something that I like and appreciate. But the GPS is, instead of coming from a different watch or from a phone, it's coming from the Suunto 5. And so far, I haven't really put it through a torture test yet. All that's coming. But so far, the tracings that I've been getting are really pretty. So everything looks really nice. I don't know if they're doing something with the algorithm and borrowing a little bit from existing maps, but I don't think that they are. When I really zoom in, it's not like it's exactly pegging to the trails or the paths that I'm running on. So the tracings that I've been getting so far in relatively easy conditions for Chicago have been really nice. So far, it seems like a really good pair of devices, having the Stryd footpod and the watch. The only thing that's been giving me a problem has been the wrist-based heart rate. And so it has optical sensors on the back of the watch, the part that touches your wrist, and you can get heart rate from that. I've had problems with all the other watches that I've ever tried in terms of getting an accurate heart rate reading from a wrist during an activity. While I'm resting, when I'm sleeping and walking around, it seems to be about right. But during an activity, it always seems to be way off. So I do have a heart rate, a chest strap coming. So further tests will be coming along on that. Charging this, there's like a little alligator clip that you charge with. I have found so far that I haven't really needed to charge it nearly as frequently as some other watches that I've worked with, but the battery life isn't quite as epic as I was hoping it to be. I'll do some more thorough testing with that as I get a chance to get to know this watch a little bit better and do a little bit more thorough testing in that regard as well. But overall, so far, the testing and living with this watch has been relatively great. I do wish it was brighter, and I do wish some of the watch faces could give me a little bit more data when I'm not running. While I'm running, it's great. I have everything that I pretty much need, but when I'm not running, I find the interface with the watch to just be a little bit lacking. So those are my first impressions on the Suunto 5 watch. If you have any questions about it, let me know in the description. I'd love to talk to you more about it down there. Now, before I go, I do want to remind you guys about the charity order for this week. And for this week, it's Jonathan Aird, who's going to be running the Berlin Marathon as his first marathon. And he's raising money for Multiple Sclerosis Society, a very worthy charity and something that's close to his heart because his mother has been affected by this disease. I've donated $70 to his fundraising efforts, and I'll post links in the description in case you'd like to learn more. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?